Today, we're tackling something I think pretty much everyone listening has felt. It's that frustration, right? The sources we looked at call it the catastrophic failure of basic learning.
Oh, yeah. That hits home. It's that, temporary genius feeling
Mm.
where you spend weeks, maybe months, really digging into complex stuff, like for a big presentation or a certification exam.
You nail it, feel great.
Exactly. You ace the test, but then fast forward a few months, you actually need that knowledge for something new, something real world, and poof, it's just gone. The core concepts vanished.
Right. And what's key here is how the sources frame it. They say it's not really your fault, not a failure of intelligence. It's a structural problem, a fundamental flaw in that old present test repeat model.
hmm That model, they argue, gives you what they call fragile, inert knowledge.
Inert knowledge. I like that term. Like you technically possess it, but you can't actually do anything with it, right? You can't adapt it or use it when things get messy.
That's the core problem they're diagnosing. If the real goal isn't just a score, but, building knowledge that lasts, knowledge you can actually deploy and adapt, well, then the whole method needs a rethink, a radical one.
And that's exactly what we're digging into today. We're trying to decode the architecture of mastery behind this new AI-powered online school. It's designed specifically to fix that inert knowledge problem. The claim is huge, a permanent cognitive upgrade.
It's a really fascinating mix. This isn't just some random design. It's built on three pretty solid pillars. You've got Nobel Prize-winning cognitive science backed by, get this, 31 cornerstone studies.
31. Wow.
Yeah. Then that's fused with the best of Finnish pedagogy, the PISA winners, their philosophy and practice, and then layered on top, cutting-edge adaptive AI.
That's quite the foundation. Cognitive science, Finnish education, and AI. But it didn't start as this massive tech project, did it? The origin seems more academic.
That's right. It traces back to a master's thesis, started way back in 2015 at the University of Helsinki. The research was looking into how individualization and gamification could really shake up language teaching.
And the results were good.
Apparently remarkable. It wasn't just about grades. Students, even the ones who weren't motivated at first, they didn't just do well. They started to sort of intuitively get complex language patterns, stuff they weren't explicitly taught.
Okay, that's interesting. Moving beyond just following rules to actually grasping the underlying structure intuitively.
Exactly. That's the kind of deep learning they were seeing. And it's worth noting, this research is being prepared for scientific publication by the University of Helsinki. So it has that academic credibility.
Right. It wasn't just a quick experiment. It has rigor behind it.
And that rigor underpins this whole school structure we're about to unpack.
Okay, so let's bridge that gap. The thesis sparked the idea. When did they actually start building this thing?
The build started in late fall 2020, and it sounds like they knew from the get-go it was a major undertaking, not just a software side project. They even founded a whole separate Wall Street-based publishing company just to handle the content.
A publishing company. Why?
Because the system needs a massive amount of high-quality, scientifically designed learning material. We'll get into why later, but the content itself is a huge part of the engine.
Got it. Content is king, even for AI. So let's dive into those pillars. The Finnish pedagogy part. You mentioned co-founder Marjo Dillström, 22 years as a Finnish educator. What specific ideas did she bring?
Well, the Finnish system is famous for prioritizing depth over breadth, right? Understanding concepts deeply rather than just covering tons of material superficially. That philosophy is baked in.
Okay, depth over quantity. Makes sense.
But maybe even more important is this idea of psychological safety in the learning process.
Psychological safety sounds a bit soft for a system aiming for mastery, doesn't it? How does that work when the goal is so rigorous?
It's actually crucial because the goal is rigorous. Think about it. When you're tackling really hard stuff, pushing your boundaries, you will make mistakes. You have to. It's how you find the weak spots.
Sure.
So the Finnish model, applied here, means mistakes aren't treated like shameful failures like they often are in traditional schools.
So what are they then?
They're reframed. They're just data, valuable diagnostic data, information you need to improve. And critically, the learner has total privacy. So you're safe to fail, to experiment, to confront what you don't know without any social or academic penalty.
I get it. If you're scared of being wrong, you just stick to the easy stuff. You never push into that difficult zone where the real learning, the real cognitive change happens.
Exactly. And that change, that growth, is guided through two stages that the school promises. First is deep learning. This is where the system actively forces your brain to build strong, robust connections. Knowledge designed to last for years. Durability.
Okay. Durable knowledge, but is that just like really good memorization,
Yeah.
or is it different? How do you know you've achieved it?
It's different because of how it's stored. Not just isolated facts, but connected ideas,
Hmm.
systems. And the goal isn't just recall. Deep learning is the foundation for stage 2. True mastery.
True mastery. Sounds like the final boss level.
Sort of. It's moving beyond just recalling information to automatically spotting deep patterns, complex patterns, often hidden ones, across different situations. That pattern recognition, that's the heart of expert intuition.
So moving from knowing the rules to just seeing the whole game.
You got it. From technician to expert,
Mhm.
from following the recipe to inventing your own dishes.
Okay, great destination. But how do they actually get you there? The mechanics of it, this architecture of practice, it sounds intense.
It starts with structure. Very clear scaffolding. Content goes in a strict order. Introduction first, then parts, then chapters within those parts, then subchapters within those chapters.
You can't skip ahead.
Nope. No jumping around.
Yeah.
You have to master the foundations before you unlock the next level of complexity. It forces you to build your understanding layer by layer.
Ensures a solid mental model. But structure isn't enough. How do they enforce that mastery? How do they know you're ready to move from, say, chapter 1 to chapter 2?
That's where the mastery threshold comes in. To move between any unit, part, chapter, subchapter, you have to pass a short, comprehensive exam, and the bar is high, 90% or higher, non-negotiable.
90%, that sounds tough. Almost seems like it could discourage people or lead to gaming the system.
That's why the psychological safety and autonomy we talked about are so critical before you hit that exam. The philosophy is, mastery just requires that level of processing. If you fail the 90% test, you don't just repeat passively. You go back and engage with more of the learning tasks for that unit until you are ready.
Okay, so the pressure isn't about time, it's about demonstrating understanding, which brings us back to that autonomy piece. You mentioned autonomy with accountability, the finished model influence again. How do you have autonomy with a 90% gate?
Right, so within the current unit you're working on, you get a lot of choice. You can pick from up to 100 different deep learning tasks. These are research-defined tasks, ranging from easier to quite challenging.
100 different tasks for one unit.
Up to 100, yeah. And crucially, you decide when to ramp up the difficulty. This keeps intrinsic motivation high. That's straight out of self-determination theory. You're in the driver's seat for your practice.
Okay, so I pick the exercises, but I still need to hit that 90% score eventually.
Precisely. And here's a really key distinction. The platform doesn't track some internal proficiency score to then automatically assign you the right task.
It doesn't. Most adaptive systems do that.
This one doesn't. It scores your tasks and exams, yes, but those scores aren't used to dictate your next move. Protecting that learner autonomy, letting you choose your path, is central to their whole motivational design. Keeps you engaged.
Okay, but wait. If I'm in charge, what stops me from just picking the 10 easiest tasks out of the 100 and avoiding the hard stuff?
That's the accountability loop, tied to that 90% exam. Yeah. If you only do the easy tasks, a couple of things happen. First, you'll eventually just run out of easy options within that unit.
Makes sense.
But more importantly, you simply won't be able to pass that comprehensive 90% mastery exam. It's designed to require the deeper understanding you only get from tackling the harder tasks. Failing the exam naturally redirects you, without the platform forcing you back towards the more challenging practice you need.
I see. So the system lets you choose your route, but all routes ultimately have to go through that 90% quality checkpoint, which forces you to engage with the harder material eventually. It's like guided freedom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You control the sequence of practice, but the destination mastery is fixed.
Right.
And those 100 tasks, they're the actual cognitive workout, right? What's the science behind them? Are they just quizzes?
Oh, definitely not just quizzes. They're designed to operationalize really high-impact cognitive principles. Things like retrieval practice, forcing you to pull information out of your brain, not just passively review it.
Okay, active recall.
Right.
And the generation effect, making you create answers or solutions, not just recognize existing ones. And a big one, meaning as use. The tasks constantly push you to apply the knowledge in simulated contexts.
So it's not abstract knowledge, it's knowledge tied to action, to context, which prevents it from becoming that inert knowledge we started with.
That's the whole point. It becomes actionable knowledge, like a policy stored in your brain, ready to deploy when the real situation arises.
Okay, so if someone really commits to this, goes through subject after subject, using this method, what's the ultimate win, beyond just getting really good at, say, one specific topic?
The biggest promise, the sources claim, is achieving the meta skill of accelerated mastery. It's about getting better at getting better.
Explain that. A meta skill.
Yeah, the idea is that every subject you master using this platform actually makes you faster and more effective at mastering the next one and the one after that.
Oy.
It creates this compounding cognitive advantage over time.
So you're literally upgrading your ability to learn. That's ambitious. If it works, the range of subjects must be huge, not just coding or something technical.
It is. The scope they cover is really broad. You see high-value business stuff like courses on decoding venture capitalists or mastering office politics, or even this massive encyclopedia of over 15,000 sales closing techniques.
15,000. Okay, that signals the kind of depth they're aiming for.
Definitely. But then you also see crucial topics for educators like how to teach traumatized students effectively, or even foundational skills for students themselves, framed as courses like How I Learned to Love Resilience or Love Curiosity.
Wow. Resilience and curiosity as subjects.
And it even extends to parents
Yeah.
with things like effective sibling conflict resolution for the home setting.
So Wall Street, the classroom, the living room, it covers a lot of ground. But wait, things like office politics or teaching traumatized kids, those are so deeply human, so reliant on nuance and context. Is it all just algorithms teaching this?
That's a really important question. And the answer is no. The sources emphasize they're actively building a global network of actual human teachers. These teachers provide support in the students' own languages within their cultural contexts. It ensures the learning lands properly, feels relevant. So it's this blend, smart algorithms plus deep human integration.
Smart. They're anticipating that purely digital can't handle certain kinds of deep learning, especially when culture and human connection matter. So where's all this right now? What's the status?
Currently, the school is in its beta stage. It's open, but only to selected private schools right now. They're refining it, pressure testing it.
And when does go public?
The public launch is scheduled for fall 2025.
Okay, fall 2025. Now the big question, access. This sounds like a premium, probably expensive system. No-mel science, AI, finished pedagogy. Is this just going to create another knowledge divide?
That's where their mission comes in, and it's quite striking. They're currently running it as a philanthropic project, funded entirely by the founders. The stated goal is to democratize access to this kind of mastery.
How? Philanthropic sounds nice, but what does it mean in practice?
It means, according to the sources, that they offer their standard learning materials for 360 subjects, completely free.
Free? To whom?
To any government-funded school anywhere in the world.
Wow, 360 subjects free to public schools globally. That's a massive commitment to access.
It is. And beyond that, to let anyone experience the method directly, they're offering 4 of their most impactful subjects on education, strategy, politics, totally free to anyone in the world right now.
So individuals can try it out, feel the difference between this deep learning approach and, well, regular learning before the full launch.
Exactly. Lets you compare that feeling of temporary cramming versus potentially building something durable, something deployable.
Okay, let's try to wrap this up. If you had to synthesize the core takeaway from this deep dive, what would it be?
I think a key is realizing this isn't just another study tool for one exam. It's framed as an investment in fundamentally changing how you learn, how your brain actually builds and stores knowledge it can use.
Right. It's like the difference between having one specific recipe memorized, that's the fragile, inert knowledge, versus truly understanding cooking principles, the science, the techniques. So you can then invent, adapt, troubleshoot any recipe.
Exactly. It's an investment in your cognitive machinery,
Yeah.
not just the information passing through it. The real measure isn't just knowing facts about VC funding or classroom management.
It's whether the process of learning itself gets faster, deeper, more effective for the next challenge you take on.
Precisely. That structural upgrade.